Hey, MCP friends. First off, I want to thank all you guys for your support today. I took a photo or a series of photos this weekend, wanting to turn it into the composition that you guys saw of the different photos. And never in my wildest dreams did I think it would take off the way that it did. Quickly on my way out the door this morning, I posted it just wanting to get some ideas and comments and feedback. And boy, did you guys fulfill that request. So thank you. Just to answer some questions real quick before I get into a little tutorial on how I did it. Some of the questions that I've seen out there, I'll try to hit them all if I can. Where did I get the idea from? I just want to say not once have I ever wanted to take the full credit for this idea. In fact, I got it. I was looking for a spring theme for a family photo shoot that I have coming up. And I went on Pinterest to get some colors. And that's when the photo popped up of people in the boxes, kind of just playing around. And I thought it was a really good idea to almost mimic. But unlike some of you guys' comments in there where you talked about you had a box made for your studio, I don't necessarily have a studio in my house. A lot of times I do travel to other people's houses. And so building a box or having a box that was massive like that just wasn't an option for me. So I had to start exploring other options, which is where the idea of, well, maybe I can just get a huge cardboard box and use it. That's where that idea came from. So a little bit of originality there. I haven't seen any others that are done with a cardboard box. And then the ones that I have seen that are done, all the images are roughly the same size. Nothing really stands out more so than another image. And so, again, to keep a little of the originality there, I just wanted to change that up a bit and change some of the sizes of the photos to make some of the things stand out, like the dad just in the midst of all the chaos, So, again, the original idea was not mine. I did have some inspiration there from a photo I saw on Pinterest. All right, so other questions. What's the backdrop for? When I used my camera, I was capturing a little bit more than the box. And again, we didn't do it in a studio. I did it in their house, actually in their dining room. And the last thing I wanted to do was capture their dining room table in the background. So I did set up seamless paper, black backdrop, and I put the box on top of that. Watermarking. I honestly feel like this might be a lost cause at this point. The photo has now been online for more than 24 hours. Originally, I did the edits on it, and it wasn't done. And I sent it to the mom, who you guys see in the photo there, just to get her feel for my edits and to see if I was going the right direction with it, if she liked it, if she wanted to make any changes. And it was just supposed to be a rough draft. In fact, I still have a few photos that I wanted to add to it. But she fell in love with it so much, she took off with it, she posted it, and I guess my watermarking from that point was neither here nor there. Because even with her post, a lot of people had already shared it and liked it so much. Was the box at an angle? No, not purposefully anyway. The girls, who I believe are 6, 3, and 1, they were playing around in the box. So were the puppies that you guys see in the picture. So the box did slightly move. So if you guys see an angle in the box, it's probably what that's from, but it wasn't done on purpose by any means. With the hands and feet coming out of the box, I got a question if the box was on the table. No, again, the box was massive, and I'll show you guys that here in a little bit. What you're seeing is the black backdrop that's underneath it. And so being that I was able to use the black background in Photoshop when I was editing it, it kind of blended in nicely to make it seem like they're kind of hanging outside the box on that bottom row. That was the most crucial point in that for me, though, was that anytime they did have hands or feet hanging outside the box or over the edge, I knew that it had to be a photo that would be used on the bottom portion of it. How long did the layout take me? The layout itself, and actually even the editing, wasn't that hard or that long. The biggest part for me was trying to choose which photos to use. I took a series of maybe 400 plus shots, So I had to go through all of those and figure out, okay, which ones do I like the most? Because all of them were adorable. And I had to figure out which ones I liked the most and how I wanted to set those up. Keeping the edges straight, how did I do that? Again, the box did move, and so there was a lot of masking that was being done in Photoshop when I edited it. At the same time, because the box moved so much, I had to sort of build a box again in Photoshop and then mask in the actual photo. And for those of you that might be unfamiliar with that, I'll walk you through that here in a little bit of some screenshots of how I pulled that off. The size of the box, I ordered it from Amazon. I believe it was probably about 3 feet by 3 feet. It was massive when it came. And in fact, when it showed up at my door, my kids were even playing in it, and I was trying to get them not to tear it up before my photo shoot. Again, where did I purchase it? I got it from Amazon. I got the question of what's my job in the Air Force. Nothing photography related. I've been pursuing my passion of photography for a while, but unfortunately I could not secure that job in the Air Force. My job is human resources, which is, I work in the NPF, for those of you that are familiar with the Air Force. And those of you that aren't, again, it's just an admin kind of job, human resources. And then, did I get shots of the mom alone? No. I really wish I had, and in hindsight, that's when I realized, as I was editing, that I didn't have any shots of her alone. Everything was just, I was there for probably about 2 hours, just letting the kids kind of play around in the box. That's the other thing, is I really didn't pose anybody too much. I wanted to keep it pretty natural. So I maybe posed a handful of times, and then the other times I just kind of let the kids do their thing, the parents do their thing. And I really wish that I had thought about getting the mom alone in the box. But I didn't. I forgot, in all honesty. So, okay. So, I guess I'll go ahead and lead you guys into the other sections of the video and show you guys how I pulled it off. All right. So, hopefully you guys can hear me. As promised, here's the massive size box that I used. Again, huge. The cool thing about this is, a couple cool things. It's cheap. I think I paid maybe $6 at the most for it. And then also I can kind of fold this and put this away until I'm ready to reuse it again, and keep reusing it till it gets damaged. If it gets damaged beyond a usable condition, then buy a new box, right? So I'm going to go ahead and unfold this and just show you guys the sheer size of it and why I couldn't necessarily put it on top of a table or anything. It's still folded together right now. So, tuck the bottom underneath here. Alright, so boom. I sealed up the backside with duct tape, and the front side, I just kind of taped down the flaps with some duct tape on the side, because again, in the photo you didn't see the side of the box, you just saw the front of it. So the duct tape, don't worry about it not looking pretty, you don't see it anyway. So, okay, well, that's the box. Nothing fancy, just a huge cardboard box. Again, I did have to order it online because everywhere I tried to get it, they only sold it in bulk. And online was the only place I found where you could actually order one. And then, also, I didn't think it was too smart to go around asking people for a box that could fit people in it. I think I'd be sitting in jail right now instead of talking to you guys. So, this is the box. All right, we'll carry on with the remainder of the video tutorial. The website that I'm in right now is the website that I got the idea from for the photography. I think it was Pinterest that originally led me here. Again, I was just looking for color themes for spring photos, but oddly enough, this was placed in there, and I just stumbled upon it. So if I just scroll down here, this is the original idea photo that I had seen. And I could tell that by looking at it, obviously some kind of box was built. There was nothing in the background to show that it was cardboard or anything. But again, that wasn't an option for me. And I just fell in love with the idea immediately. It looks like the photo belongs to a Stuart McIntyre, and he won the Group Family Photographer of the Year for the site here. So huge props to him. And again, all the credit for the inspiration goes to him. Again, my photo did vary a bit though. As you see here in this photo, all the boxes are the same size as well. And it looks like, again, like I said, he had something that was built for him for permanent usage. So, okay, so I guess we'll move into Lightroom. This is where I load all my photos, perhaps too many. I think I need to transfer them over, but over here in the corner, you'll see that the shoot itself consisted of 446 pictures. And this is just some of the girls on the screen here. I didn't do any editing in Lightroom at all. I simply used Lightroom to upload the photos into, so that way I could go through them easier and figure out, I just love this one, so that way I could go through them and just figure out which ones I wanted to use. Again, that was the hardest part of all this, was choosing 16 to 20 pictures to use in this project. So going through, I won't go through all of these. Again, I didn't pose the girls. I just kind of let them have a good time. And they play together really well anyway, which worked out in my favor a lot. The puppy kind of wandered in and out of some of the shots there. Mom got involved. And then Dad came into the picture. So there were some shots that I was hoping to get, maybe like the dogs together. And I didn't get a chance to actually add it, because again, you gotta remember, what was posted was just supposed to be a draft. It was never supposed to be the finalized product. But some of the shots I did want to merge. She was tired. Some of the shots I did want to merge into one image to just kind of enhance them a little bit. But again, I would have done that in Photoshop. I didn't do anything in Lightroom here, although I love the action set in Lightroom. I worked strictly from Photoshop on this particular project. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop. Over here, I have all my action sets from the MCP actions. What I did to start off the photo is I started off with a blank canvas. I used black since the backdrop was black. And from there, I'll pull up one of the photos here that I used. I selected one of the photos that I was going for, and as you can see, the box is kind of leaning here, so there's no way I would really be able to pull off that shot. So based off of that, I pretty much had to build my own box in Photoshop. So what I did, I'll turn on my other layer here. I went to this little guy here. It's right underneath the arrow, and it's the rectangle tool. And I drew a box. I didn't really worry about dimensions too much for starters. I kind of got into that later. And for color matching, I went back to my photo that I was working with, and I used the eyedropper tool and just selected the color from the background of the box there to work with, and went back and recolored in the other box that I was working with. So it's not, you're probably wondering how in the world I matched that up with that, but we'll get into that here in just a second. I'm not going to go through all these photos. I'll just show you this one and give you the general idea of how I worked everything out. Okay, so there's probably an easier way to do this, and you have to forgive me. I'm still a little bit new to Photoshop, but I'm going to copy this into this next place here as a new layer. And what I did from this point was you can kind of try to line it up a little bit. As you see, the box is a little off. So I'm going to go to this here and just kind of try to expand this a little bit. Obviously, for resizing the boxes in the overall photo, I didn't really have to do this too much. I was able to kind of do it on the final project. But okay, so that looks about good right there. I'm going to accept that. I'm going to readjust the opacity on here. Alright, so this was the fun part. I had the layer mask here at the bottom, and I inverted it to where you couldn't see the girls at all. I hit Command I. I'm using a MacBook here. So I completely inverted it. Then I went to my paintbrush tool, and since what I inverted was black over here, I'm going to have to use a white paintbrush. I'm just going to swap these two around. And from there, I basically just filled in to be able to see the girls. So I'll show you here. And you can move just a little bit slower. Kind of went to the edges a little bit. Now you'll notice that when I got to a certain point on the edges, I'm going to increase my brush just for the sake of this video. When I got to a certain point on the edges, I did stop and I let them kind of fade away, so that way you didn't really get that effect that everybody, I think somebody asked a question on how I kept the box straight. And don't worry too much if you mess up here. As you can see, again, I'm going a little bit fast, but if you mess up, you can always undo this action just by swapping the colors of your brush again and undoing the masking effect that you're working on. And what I can do to kind of even them up again is go to the photo itself and just kind of rotate it a little bit. Rotate it like that. And then expand it just a little bit and move it here. So I'm going to go right back into my mask layer here, and I'm going to swap the colors again and fix some of the mistakes I made here, just on the bottom. So make it a little bit even along the bottom here. And honestly, that's basically what I did for the editing portion of it. With the action sets, I'll try to remember what I did here. I'm pretty sure I went into Inspire and I used the Brilliant Color Base for it. And I may have even applied a mood ring, possibly the brown one. And then I love the sharpening tool on here. So ran a quick sharpening. But again, I didn't really get too involved in the action sets on this because it wasn't final. It wasn't something that I originally planned on posting and sharing with everybody. Actually, I kind of wish I had gotten that chance, but yeah. So if anybody has any questions that I've missed, please let me know. I'll show you guys the finalized product again here one more time. These were the photos that I used in the folder here, and try bringing it up. And that was the final product. Be sure when you are downsizing these to fit in any sequence that you choose, you're holding down the Shift button, so that way you don't stretch them out and they still hold the same kind of square image there. Right. Okay, so my name is Tiffany Arrington, and it's been a pleasure kind of showing you guys how I went about creating this image. And again, if you guys have any questions, just, I guess, comment on the video and I'll try to answer them as best as I possibly can. Thanks for your interest. Take care.